Welcome to Share Talk, the only podcast where investors come first.
Hi, this is Zak Mir with the Bulletin Board Heroes on Friday the 12th of June. Starting off with Aston Martin, where you can see that shares pulled back from last week's best levels towards, 90p. But at least at the moment, we're holding above the 50-day moving average, which was the hope before the spike towards 90. While there's no end-of-day close back below that particular feature, looking for further progress, probably within a rising trend channel, as I'm drawing at the moment. So maybe 95 to 100 pence on the cards while we hold above the 50-day line. Next stock, one for the shorting conspiracy. We had placing news today. Just interesting to see the shares holding above the 50-day moving average of 2.35 pence. That's probably the line in the sand for the bulls at the moment. End of day close above that April resistance line around 2.5 pence would be a victory of sorts, and possibly allow the shares to at least retest that late May peak just shy of 4.5 pence. Stock which created a bit of a flurry yesterday late in the session was Goldstone Resources, and an interesting technical setup here that we had the old peak there at 3.3 pence, new support today at 4 pence. So we've got a support resistance gap there. While we hold above the gap, or at least while we hold above 3.3 pence, we are hopefully looking for further gains. Best case scenario target here, a February resistance line heading for 10 pence. Obviously yesterday's peak at 6.5, the initial target there, and it has to be admitted the shares are very overbought in the RSI window, so some cooling off may be required. Refreshing move today from IQE with a bounce. Yesterday's support at 40 pence was the floor of that rising trend channel from March, so that was 1 plus point. Today we've opened up and cleared the 20-day moving average at 43 pence roughly. At least while we're above the 20-day line, looking for a target towards the top of the rising March trend channel at 60p over the next week or two. Best case scenario target for fans of the shares is the top of a rising December trend channel at 100 pence. Codal Minerals was a stock which moved a few days ago, and dust has kind of settled over the last couple of sessions at least. We found support at and above the 20-day moving average at 0.05, which is quite a positive, and it looks as though the shares might have another go at least to retest the recent highs, 0.11, with the best case scenario target while we hold above 0.05 up to 0.16 pence, which is the top of that broadening post-November triangle. Onto a stock which again had a flurry a few days back, and it's interesting that I think Mercantile Ports basically did its best to suck people in towards 0.4 pence and then spit them out below or towards 0.25 pence. But having done that, maybe there's another chance for a revival. It could be that we're in a broadening triangle, and the top of the triangle maybe up to 0.6 pence. Obviously, this is rather creative charting, but let's see how it goes. But at least while we're above 0.25, looking for another attempt on 0.4 or a bit more over the next few days. Stock which is also pretty volatile in terms of the near-term price action is Management Consulting Group. The positive point here is the way that it had all these, it's rather a liquid stock, but all these daily candles ended up as being green, and so that does suggest there is some accumulation going on in, around current levels, or between 0.2 and 0.3 pence. We've still held that bear trap island gap reversal, in fact, so that's another positive. So it does suggest that above 0.2 we could head up to 0.8 pence in this situation. Obviously it is a very illiquid one, but that upside there is of interest over the next few weeks as a possible destination. People going mad with the second wave speculation on COVID, but at least it's meant that for Omega Diagnostics, we've bounced over the last 3 days or 4 days off the floor of this rising trend channel from April. The lows there just at and just below the 50 pence level, as we had today as well. Probably if you're cautious on the shares, you'd wait for an end-of-day close above the 20-day moving average at 62, which is now the initial target. An end-of-day close above that feature could then give us a new wave up for Omega up to the top of the channel at 100 pence as soon as the end of next month. Finishing off with One Spatial. Here we see a classic triangle break there, really breaking that 23 pence resistance line, and above 23 pence looking for a top of what's that, late December rising trend channel target as high as 40 pence for this situation. Obviously not a very liquid situation, so today's breakout may not be as reliable as we would like, but as things stand, that is the current situation for this stock. That's it for me today. More updates on Monday.
Thank you for listening. Remember to visit our website for more news and other podcasts at www.share-talk.com.